We are starting at chapter 26, verse 20. Without wood, a fire goes out. Without gossip, a quarrel dies down. Time heals all wounds. You've heard that statement. Well, in a quarrel, if you don't continue to feed it by talking about it, often people will forgive and forget. People will settle down their emotions. They won't constantly be having their emotions kindled back up. And they'll come to a state of peace and calm where they can let go. So don't gossip. The quarrel was started, now let it end. Moving on, 21. As charcoal to embers and as wood to fire, so is a quarrelsome man for kindling strife. If it is in your nature to gossip, if it is in your nature to argue, and I have occasionally an argumentative streak, I like discussions, and I like winning, that causes problems. That causes people to get angry. And they say here, it's how you start a fire, right? You do something little small, and then poof, a whole conflagration occurs. So we want to avoid being quarrelsome and argumentative, right? Be peacemakers. Be those who let things go, who don't have to return evil for evil, but return good for evil. Moving on. 22, the words of a gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to a man's inmost parts. And choice morsels sometimes result in fat people and diabetes and other harm. So the words of a gossip, we hear them and we like them. And so we swallow them in deep. This is how conspiracy theories kind of get into the pop culture. You hear something, it's interesting, it's fascinating, you really mull it over and ruminate on it, you let it settle into you and get really interested and find out the details. Where someone gossips about a neighbor and, ooh, is that true? What else can you tell? I want to find out more. And so it settles in deep, it becomes a real part of your life. And this is a really dangerous thing because we want things which are good or of God to settle in deep. We want the things of the Lord which are righteous and just, which are good for ourselves and our neighbors. We want that to be the core of us. We don't want the words of a gossip to supplant the wonderful words of life that Christ gives. Moving on, 23. Like a coating of glaze over earthenware are fervent lips with an evil heart. All right. When you put glaze over earthenware, it makes it appear to be better, right? It makes it shiny and look new and wonderful. And earthenware may or may not be shiny and new and wonderful. I don't know enough about pottery, but from the implication of the verse, not so shiny, not so new, not so wonderful. Well, when you speak with an evil heart, but you speak in a really, convincing way, in a very eager and excited way, well, this would be so wonderful. But it's not. Or, can you believe they did that? But in reality, the person didn't do that. When you're lying, when you're seeking someone's harm, but you do it, he's the worst man ever. Oh, that politician. Okay? And you can come up with your own examples. But your fervency, your eagerness, your excitement covers up the fact that what you're excited about is evil. It's a bad thing, and it should be avoided. Moving on. 24. A malicious man disguises himself with his lips. But in his heart, he harbors deceit. Though his speech is charming, do not believe him, for 7 abominations fill his heart. His malice may be concealed by deception, but his wickedness will be exposed in the assembly. I tend to look at politicians today, and when their lips are moving, I listen to what they say, but I really take it all with more than a grain of salt. Because politicians often say things which sound beautiful. But where we really see where the test is what do they do? Do their actions reflect the beauty of their words? They say, we are going to bring about unity and everyone is going to love one another. And then they pursue their enemies pugnaciously and they seek to have everyone harmed. I'm very suspicious of them. Let's put it that way. The same goes with preachers. If we preach Christ and we preach him crucified and his actions and his forgiveness of our sins and the fact that he wants to draw all people to himself and that he wants to make all things new, that's righteous. That's good. But if we conceal it with good words that direct to the person to themselves, to seeking salvation in themselves and in their actions, that's malignant and bad. And so the person can conceal it, but it says will be exposed in the assembly, will be exposed before the court of God in the eternal perspective and the preacher perspective, etc., will be exposed before the humans in a court of man as it goes out into the world, as politicians' actions are judged by society. Hopefully we see and vote out those who are acting contrary to what they were speaking in a way that is evil rather than the good that they spoke, right? And so the deeds speak louder than words, and hopefully the group of people see that. Moving on. 27. If a man digs a pit, he will fall into it. If a man rolls a stone, it will roll back on him. My brother and I once, there was a pit in our backyard because of a septic tank issue anyway. We weren't supposed to go in it, which we understood. It snowed, and the snow, we packed it over this pit. And we were thinking, oh, this is going to be so funny, which obviously it wouldn't have been funny, someone falling in. But here's the thing, I was the one who fell in. I went back there and forgot about the pit, and I fell into it. And when you set a trap, often you're the one caught. It says when you roll a stone up the hill, it's going to roll right back down on top of you. You know, you chop down the tree, woo, the tree falls on you. The consequences of your own actions often come back and bite you. And so seek what is good. It's okay if I make a cake and the cake returns to me, I'm pretty happy. But if I'm trying to cause harm to someone, then yeah, I'm likely to have harm caused to me. He who lives by the sword will perish by the sword, said Jesus. In this case, it's he who rolls up the rock will have the rock crush him. All right, we're going to close there.